Hi there guys, welcome back to my channel, Will Lord Prehistoric Experiences. Well, yesterday I was running a flint knapping workshop, and this was one of the pieces of flint that several flakes were taken off, and instead of taking the tool right out the middle, we kept taking flakes and using them to turn into tools. You can't help but notice that that's got quite a nice banded colour just underneath the cortex, which is the skin of the flint. So this morning I'm down here quietly on my own, and I managed to extract this little flake from right here. And what we've got is a nice colour scheme that I managed to save from just under there. So I'm sitting here, and on that one the banded colour lays on one side of the stone, and I'm sitting here thinking, if I can get a flake to go right down the middle of that, then I can get that colour to sort of sit in a different way on another point, and that's going to mean that from here I'm going to need to set a platform up so I can cast a flake across the top of it. So that's what I've bothered to come on here to do. So bear with me while we get set up. Put you there. Pop a leg pad on. It's always good to tie them on, otherwise they bounce about up and down, all that sort of thing. Pop a pair of glasses on so I can see what I'm doing properly, and begin to establish, if possible, the platform that will lead me onto this. Pitch! There's no one there. I can keep these kind of flakes, they're good. And what I want to do is I want to steer this so that I can go at that accurately from behind. That's probably it. So with that, to set that platform up, I just used a hammer stone. I'm going to pop that down and pick this one up, which is more abrasive, and we're going to coach what we describe as a platform into the situation behind there. Sort of biting into that piece of flint. So what we can see now is the shape that I've created, which is just here, and you can see the colour scheme that I'm trying to that I'm going in there for, because that's part of the joy of flint knapping, is being able to reward yourself with a flake that you enjoy working on. So this is a soft hammer made out of I think this is sambar, to be quite honest, instead of being red deer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strike that here in this direction. It's not going to come off clean at the end because this section here is too high, but I'm not that bothered about that. We'll just break it off and see what we've got. Okay, so this is what we ended up with, and I could do it again from this direction here as well. After that, there's lots of different colours and contrasts on the flint, but that was the one that was piquing my interest, as you can see. So I think what I would probably do is trim this round, trim that across a bit, trim the back in, and that's all going to be done with a technique called pressure flaking. So we'll take that back a bit. It always looks like there's quite a lot of work to be done when you think about using that on that, and there is, but there's techniques for moving flint quite fast. So what we'll do is show you. If you look here, there's a shape, looks like an elbow, goes straight along and drops back. All we do is just stay in that elbow, right tight in the corner, and we can move a lot of flint at fairly high speed. And that back bit snapped off, which is something I was going to take off anyway, so I'm not bothered about that. Interestingly enough, this wants to curve. It goes round in an arch, so you know what, I'm going to go with that. Not because I know that, I've just decided it. Just going to go with the shape of that colour. It's going to be an arrowhead of some description, or maybe like a little sickle or something. And the difficulty that what we're going to run into here is not having this look about it, which is, but we want to get the contrast of this. I'm going to move around because I suspect the light is a bit broken for you guys. Yeah, you can probably see better now what we're up to. Just looking around for my dog. Just spotted him over there. He's not too far away. So basically by doing this, what I'm getting into is I'm getting into a thicker material. All that thin, fragile material is gone. So you can see we've followed that round like that. And as I mentioned, I'm into preserving this and getting rid of this, which currently means that the way I've taken the material away, it's all upside down. So, because I want to take material off of here, and this setup is set up for taking material this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just relocate that cutting edge, but not taking any long distance flakes. Just going to keep them nice and short at the moment. They call it pressure flaking because you need to be able to provide quite a lot of pressure to push the flint away. The technique that I'm doing right now, the way I'm holding the flint in my hands, gives me, it's a bit like crushing stuff. So I'm set up in a situation where I can crush this by using quite a lot of my body. So now, we're back to this abrasive stone. And what we're doing is we're running along the edge like that. So that it's nice and blunt. And we should be able to push against that with quite a bit of force. In fact, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to run along there with this little soft hammer, because that will strike out bits which are a little bit more meaningful than what I can push, taking away some of that material from the underside and bringing us closer to the colour. I'm trying to do this video editless, so meaning that I'm doing it in one take, just so you stay with the whole journey really. Most of them flakes are successfully migrating across the edge. Bringing us closer to the colour scheme, which is what this video is about. So now, what I'm visualising is this. If I draw this on here with the copper tip flaker, I'm going to get rid of that corner. And then what we're going to do is we're going to migrate around here. So we'll end up with a leaf shape. And at the moment we're not after that cortex at all. We'll deal with that in a little while. So just from the back end here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zip backwards and forwards. Pushing through that. These flakes aren't intended to go across the flint, across the surface. They're just moving the edge of the stone back for me. We'll get under all that stuff in a minute. The cortex. And there you go, look. We've pretty much brought that edge across to where we want it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to nip around the back here. There's a bit of a defunct area just here. I'm probably going to lose a bit of that. I don't actually mind. There we go, just that little back end came off. It's done me a favour. And now, because this is slightly twisted, as you can see, my efforts now are going to be about balancing that all out a bit, so it looks straighter. That might take 1 or 2 passes to sort that out. So if you're new to my channel, basically this channel is about ancient technology. It's about skills that people had thousands of years ago, making weapons and tools, clothes, lots of various angles of survival. And I'm not always sitting here flint knapping, I just am on this occasion. I go on adventures as well, and I've got a playlist called Will's Prehistoric Road Trips, where I've gone to many places that you might have thought about and you might have seen, but I've gone there too, just to give it my take on it. You could see that. And if you've been hanging around for a while, you're probably wondering what's coming next. Well, to be quite honest, what's coming next has just happened. In January I built myself a new log cabin in the woods. I built a new kitchen, which is just over there, and put a new toilet system up, because down here what I do is I teach these ancient crafts, and that's kept me from the road. Bought myself a dog to keep myself company, and I'm about to get married, 3rd time round, but this time I've got a good woman. So and I'm 55 tomorrow, so I'm happy birthday to me on that note. Cheers. Saturday afternoon. I'm actually down there, I'm grounded at the moment because I went out to get some packaging this morning from a local town to send some daggers off that people won in my last raffle, and my suspension broke, so I'm here till I get recovered, but I'm here most of the time anyway, so just one of them things. So now what I'm doing is going back into this once again. That last little set of flakes kind of invaded this cortex. There's going to be a few crosses and a few passes to get this just right, and see whether the desires I went in here with are going to pay off. Because with flint knapping, you know, sometimes you'll meet a stone and it's absolutely amazing all the way through. Quite often obsidian with its rainbow colours, and flint can be a really pure interest, you know, a pure material, very black with hardly any inclusions in. Great for knapping, but apart from the fact it behaves itself, it can be a little bit boring sometimes because there's not much going on in it. What I've learnt to love in flint is when you bump into the Cretaceous seabed from many millions of years ago, where you're getting sea urchins and brachiopods and a variety of different other bits of marine debris that was trapped into it when it was formed in the first place. So now what I'm going to do, this bottom edge here, we're getting, as you can see, we're getting the flake scars across it. I'm going to do the first primary set of flakes to go out and lift this cortex off. So in front of that, what we do is we quickly run across the edge, and I'm building a platform, and the platform is an angle that's caused. It's about 80 degrees to the surface here. And then I change the technique slightly. As you can see, I'm just pushing downwards at the moment, and that clips off little short flakes. The next set of flakes, well, after I've braided it, quite often like to brace over my knee. There we go. So that's a really strong edge there now. You're probably wondering what that file's for. That file helps me sharpen this up a bit. And if you don't know, you're going to say, well, they didn't use copper in the Stone Age. No, you'd be quite right. They used to use an antler tine, and you can use that, but it's not quite as efficient. So as soon as the Copper Age began, and they had copper available, they started using it for pressure flaking, and the resulting artefacts were much better. So quite often when I teach people to use the copper, because they stand a better chance of flint knapping. Because doing this is not easy. You have to push really hard. That's Pitch over there. You alright, boy? His little diamond eyes, look. He's a border terrier. A dark one. 5 months old. And full of trouble. Full of fun. Lives out here with me most of the time. Well, actually all the time. Wherever I go, he goes. And I don't put him on a lead, because I think that would be like a jail sentence for both of us. So, yeah. Have a dog living a good life. So we've got most of that off. And you can see how the colour's playing on here. So the next thing to do is an order to things now. You can see that some of these flake scars didn't quite make the journey. You can sometimes pick them up with your fingernail, but they was shot from that side, this side. So what I'm going to do is present a new angle along here, send a new set of flakes through. That's going to get me closer down to this lovely grey as well. I do want a bit of the translucent brown coming through, because that will look nice. But basically what I'm doing is I'm organising the flake scars now, because not only is the colour important, but the flake scars are too. Probably wondering how I've managed to do 20 minutes of video and haven't shut up yet. Well, that braiding helps keep that strong. So let's hopefully we'll go under here now and we'll clear that. Look. So that second technique to get the flakes to travel is where you see me coming from the top to make the platform. Now I come from underneath to push the longer flakes. It's the angle of pressure that's providing me with the length of the flakes, and that's what anybody, and I really mean anybody, who tries to flint knap struggles with. It's quite often because I don't get the flaker under. See, that went across there and it undermined that other flake ending. And what we're starting to get is we're starting to get a nice flake pattern on the back. Now, when I want to show off the flake scars, normally what I do is put a little bit of oil on it. But equally, you can lick it and then you can see the scar work of them flakes, which is what makes ancient tools look so attractive. Now, to get the remainder of this little bit of cortex off, what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to come across from this side, and as you can see we've got that lovely band on there. So I'm hoping that I don't wipe out the band as we go. Because that was the point in the exercise, was not just making a arrowhead, but wandering into the science of flint knapping with art in mind. So you end up with a fairly beautiful representation of the craft. If you're still watching this and you're thinking to yourself, wow, this is amazing, I'm learning something on YouTube, that is great, and you'll find there's over 300 other videos on my channel that you can go and watch. But also, one of the things that you might want to do is you might want to kind of feel like part of something, and when I got to 100,000 followers, I was given the opportunity to start something up called a membership, where people are able to become a member. It's only a very small community at the moment, I haven't pushed it, but it'd be nice to get a few hundred people in there, because what that will do is that's obviously going to put some money in my account, and that actually helps because it means I can spend more time making videos and open up new adventures and all that sort of stuff. So I'm not really too hesitant on telling you about it. I know that everyone's trying to take your money, but look at it like this. If you found yourself buying me a pint once a month, which is what it's going to cost you, you'll have more Wheel Lord videos to watch. And I would be hugely grateful for that. So where are we at? What did I achieve? I'll show you. So in each video you have, what you have is you have a title and you have a description. And so what I'll do is I'll add the link to the membership in the description. So if you feel like going over there and joining me on there, you can. So that's what I did previously, and that's what I've just done. So they're slightly different. I was hoping to get 2 white streaks on this, one each side, and I probably could if I take a little bit more out of there, but I suspect that that's probably best left as it is. And you could describe that as a little Neolithic-style or Chalcolithic, because I made it with copper, leaf-shaped arrowhead. So that was 27 minutes of your life, ladies and gentlemen, with Wheel Lord Prehistoric Experiences. That's all I've got to say for now. I will keep trying to bring things to you that are adventurous and fun. I want to get off to a few different countries later in this year. We'll see how that goes. But for now, I'm tuning out. Take care. And if nothing else, just subscribe. All the best.